So Pure Beauty was for me my launching ground. I met a very, very close and dear friend there. Her name is also Stephanie. She and I both worked. She had 3 days a week. I had four. So I worked Tuesday through Friday. She worked Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. She's Hispanic. I'm black. So, it worked. Anytime someone came in, is Stephanie here? Well, which one? The black one or Hispanic one? Which one? And people just kind of latched onto that. Her and I had very similar working styles. We always kept our room clean. We never had an issue with, not using something. We both did inventory. I mean, her and I are still very, very good friends to this day, but we hustle exactly the same. She had clients, I had clients. It was never they're yours or they're mine. They would come in, they want something, we sold it to them. Her and I worked extremely well together. And I had a perfect opportunity to get introduced to Brazilian waxing there. So at the time, I loved doing facials. My effleurage and my facial massage was top notch. And I'm trying to remember now, do I even remember that massage that I did? I probably do if I had some chance to redo it. But I had this girl who came to me after I did a bikini wax and said, "Have you heard of Brazilian waxing?" And at that time, I had heard of it. I just never wanted to do it, ever. I told her, I said, "I don't even want to look at you like that. A bikini wax, as long as you have those paper panties on, is far enough as what I wanted to do." So I had her tell me the magic words: "Stephanie, I will pay you whatever you want to do Brazilian waxing for me." So if I want $100 bill, you'll bring me $100 bill? She said, "Absolutely." Why? Why me? She said, "Stephanie, you know what? You have such a great energy. You don't make me feel bad. I feel comfortable. I'm not embarrassed. And even if you don't know, I'm still willing to trust you so you can figure it out and still pay me $100." She's like, "Yeah. No matter how long I take?" She's like, "Yeah." "Okay. All right. Okay. 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 We're going to make an appointment. Okay. And I'm gonna do it." Okay. She said, "Okay." So we made the appointment for the next week. And inside, I'm like, I do not want to look at this girl like this. I don't ever want to go there. She gonna be naked. She ain't gonna have no clothes on, and I'm gonna have to take her pubic hair off. Now, granted, I was using a wax that wasn't the best, but I said and told myself I'm going to make it work. Now, at that time, Lori Story was the only one who was doing any kind of classes. She also had DVDs out, The Whole Ball of Wax, and I watched it and was mortified. Absolutely mortified. Like, good God, that's what I got to do? Oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm just not going to make it. There was two forces of nature that happened for me to really get into Brazilian waxing. Number one, the facials started to really decline. Now remember, facials are a luxury. As much as we want to say that they're a necessity, in the eyes of your customers, it's a luxury. So if the economy changes or their money gets funny, it's usually the first thing to go. I started seeing people really start to cut back on facials first. Then the retail started to happen. So I said, you know what? I really have to get this Brazilian thing down, because if this can take the place of the people who are not doing facials, then I can keep my income the same, because my checks started to grow. So the $300 that I got when I first started there, by the time I got it to the point where I was starting to do Brazilians, or this girl came to me, I was at about $2,000 a week. That was take home. So I said, okay, I got to keep that because that's what I'm used to. That's what I was used to. So she came, we got her in there, and I put her on all fours. And it took me an hour and 30 minutes to take all her hair off. And she's petite, Asian gal, didn't have no curl pattern. I mean, didn't even have a lot of hair. And I was like, okay, when I got done, I took off my gloves and sticks, and I was breathing and sweating, and I looked like a crazy person. And I just said, okay, it's done. And she was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, you liked it? She said, yeah, can I come back next month? We're going to do this again. And she said, yeah. You gonna bring me another $100 bill? She said, yeah. Okay. All right. She's like, okay, I'll see you next month. And I looked down at the bed and there's my $100 bill. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to really figure out how to do this thing over again. So, what happened after that was the most interesting experiences I've ever had with Brazilian waxing within the next year. Because by then, with Pure Beauty, my time had come and gone. I mean, I was making them $10,000 to $15,000 on retail. I asked for a small percentage. They said no. So that was my time to go. I became a rep for California Skincare Supply, and I enjoyed that a lot. But I wanted to open up my own practice. I wanted to have my own clinic. And so I did. I opened up my own clinic in Alameda. I shared a wing with Dr. Kotchenberger, who's still there. And he's a specialist in OBG and women who either cannot conceive or who just have issues. And he gave me one whole wing. I had 3 rooms. I had 2 treatment rooms. Each of them had sinks in them. And I said when I moved in, I'm going to have to figure out this Brazilian wax game. Okay. So what I did and what I train and tell everyone who has classes with me is I did the most craziest thing that most people will never do. I put an ad on Craigslist in the freebie section and said I would do free Brazilian waxing 1 day a month on Fridays. And if you've never had one before, you can come over and get one, male or female. And I did that for a year. And I got the absolute most craziest people you would ever think. But it gave me an opportunity to really force myself. I made appointments every 30 minutes, so I wouldn't take longer than 30 minutes. I started using multiple different techniques. I started in the back, I started in the front, I had them lay down, all kinds of different things that I would not normally be able to do with a paying client. See, when money starts to change hands with your customers, you can't use new techniques on them. You can't experiment on them because they're paying you. Because I put the ad on Craigslist and said it was free, no money was happening. So if I messed up, if I had to cut wax out of their hair, if it got stuck and I had to send them home with wax on, no money exchanged. It was a learning experience. However, that was the best thing that I ever did in my aesthetics career, was give away free Brazilians. And that's eventually how I got from an hour and a half Brazilian to the 7-minute. So 3 years it took me to get that technique down. So what you see now and all the videos that I have now took me 3 years to perfect that. And when you watch it, it makes you think, oh, that's very simple. That looks very easy. When you apply what you see to what I'm doing, to what you're doing, it's not that simple. There's always things we got to keep in mind. Hair pattern, length of hair, whether the client's comfortable, if they're sweating, is your room ventilated, how hot is the wax, all those things you have to kind of keep in mind. So that's kind of how I started my journey on this Brazilian waxing roller coaster that I'm on, because it's been an awesome ride, an absolute awesome ride. So these 6 total series that you're going to be watching are really me sharing with you my experience to where I am now. I want to motivate every single esthetician because it will get better if you stick with it. $300 every 2 weeks was how I started. The absolute most devastating thing is to open a check and see that it's $300, because in San Francisco, I lived in the Bay Area. I could never survive off of that. That was my motivation. The other part of it is I really started enjoying waxing. I see a lot of estheticians who, some love it just as much as I do. Others absolutely hate it, but they do it. And the funny thing is, and I tell all of them, your clients know you hate doing it. You may never tell them you hate doing it, but they can see it in your eyes. They can see it in your energy. They can see it in how you're dealing with them. Because I've been in private trainings where I've gone out to spas and done training with them, and I see these terrified estheticians with their eyes big and their teeth is like this, and they're looking like, oh God, oh, I messed up. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? As long as you stay calm and you smile and you remember in the back of your head that it's just hair, it'll grow back, it'll take you a lot further than, oh God, what do I do? Because this face is panic face. And the minute you make that face, the client starts to tense up. And I know you've had a client where you've taken, even on a bikini wax, you've taken that strip off and their legs go like this. And then you're like, you smashed your legs into the wax, dear. We're going to have to open them back up and start over. The minute you really change your mindset is when everything starts to change. I had to change my mindset. I had to come up with a game plan. Craigslist for me was my game plan. Free services was my game plan. And that's where everything started to click. So I had to give in order to get. And once I did that, once I got my 7-minute down, ooh, look at where I am now. I have 2 wax lines. I have clients who still come to me who don't live where I live. I have all of you who are wanting to learn how to do it. Because again, if you think about waxing, and I had to tell someone this just today, every single body has hair. So that's millions upon millions of people, and the hair grows back. That's why the people who focus on waxing and who do it very well always have customers, because everybody has hair. So this is our first episode. Stay tuned. Let's wax.